Okie dokie, everybody. Welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. It's 1021 CJAD 800 time. I do want to mention one thing here. So over the course of this week, CJAD 800, we're doing some work on our transmitter. You know, a real deal radio station like ours. 50,000, 100,000 watts of power. Jay, do you know how many? You know what our power is on the amplitude modulation? Is it 50,000 watts? Anyways, whatever it is, we've got a transmitter, and this is the big leagues. It's a monster. And because of that, every now and again, you need to do maintenance. Some of you may have noticed that our signal isn't as strong as you normally get. That's because we're doing maintenance on the transmitter, okay? So you've got a couple of options here. If you can, maybe you want to upgrade your listening experience and use the iHeartRadio app. Use your smart speaker. You know, you can tell your smart speaker to play our radio station. You say, play CJAD 800 radio, and it'll play it for you. And the sound quality is fantastic if you got one of those. You can also use the HD radio. If your car, many cars have HD radios. So you can switch over to the FM dial and go to 107.3 FM and then go to subchannel 2. And that's where you will find us in crystal clear sound. HD radio. Couple of options if you are experiencing some issues this week with our AM amplitude modulation transmission. But I digress.
Which is at 50,000 watts, by the way.
50,000 watts. I
yes,
knew
it is.
We're a behemoth. We're a behemoth. We're a giant. 50,000 watts. It's massive. Okay, thanks, Jay. So speaking of upgrades, right? You got to upgrade the transmitter. You got to do maintenance on the transmitter. You know what else needs maintenance? Schools. Yesterday, we saw a report detailing that a whopping 53% of Quebec school buildings are in poor or very poor condition. Normally, repairs carried out over the summer. Government is lagging on that dossier as well. 2018, only 47% of school buildings received a passing grade. So it's getting worse. So what is happening here? Let's find out what's happening at our largest English school board, the English Montreal School Board, and Michael Cohen. Mike Cohen is a spokesperson for the EMSB. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Elias.
So let me ask you this. What's, you see this report where you're like, well, not surprised. Like, what was your initial reaction to the report here?
Well, I mean, we have to realize the fact that, there's never, ever going to be enough money to do all the repairs necessary in every school. And I've been at the board now 24 years, and we do the same thing. Right now, the CAC has, and their Ministry of Education has, give themselves certain targets that they haven't met. But in our particular case, we're not terribly concerned with the state of our buildings. Is there enough money for every single thing we need to do? No. Are we doing what is necessary? Yes. We've made millions of dollars in investments just in the last couple of years on some very exciting and important projects. And one thing I'll add, Elias, before you ask the next question, is that never will we leave a building in a position where the health is at risk for any of the personnel, anyone using it. Even if we didn't have it in the budget, we would find the money. And we did that, as you know, for the air purifiers.
Yeah, that's right. And, obviously there are different levels here. So can I ask you maybe as a follow-up to what you just said, can you give me an example? When we hear, okay, a school is in poor condition or very poor condition, quote unquote, what would be an example of a school that's in poor condition? Are we talking about brickwork that needs to be repaired? Are we talking about chairs in school? Like, what do we talk about when we say a school is in, quote unquote, poor condition?
A lot of times it's aesthetics. I mean, I'll give you the perfect example. Westmount Park Elementary School was in very, very, very poor condition. It was a building that was over 100 years old, which many of our buildings are close to that age. We waited many years to get the proper financing because we weren't going to do patchwork there. The work that we ended up doing from A to Z for that school meant that we had to shut that school down for 2 years, relocate the students to new campuses, and we spent $20 million in 2 years to redo that building. It just reopened this year. If you had gone into the building, was it dangerous? No. Was it out of sync? Yes. Did it need a facelift? Yes. And you just have to wait for the right time, and you have to wait for the financing to do something properly, and that's the case for a lot of our schools.
So, also out of this, statistically, apparently, English schools are in worse shape overall than French schools. The average English school worse shape than the average French school. Now, I got to ask you, Mike, when it comes to funding for these things, Is it based on number of students, or is there any funny business going on where English schools are not getting access to the same level of funding as French schools?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's any funny business at all. I think everyone is treated equally. We have 20 projects under construction right now for about $35 million. We completed some major projects this year. Royal Vale we had a swimming pool that was condemned many, many years ago. It just sat there vacant. We built a fitness facility this year for well over $1 million with the government. Your old high school, Elias Lauren Hill,
tell me
getting
more.
getting a brand new swimming pool because the swimming pool was in disrepair. And of course, swimming pools got to be safe. And that's just opened in the last few weeks. We're going to do an opening, by the way, Elias, we hope in the fall. Maybe you'll join us. Maybe you'll be the MC at your old school.
Is there a ribbon cutting? Can I cut the ribbon?
Yes, you can. I will guarantee you that.
Okay, but now my mind is blown here, Mike, because when I was at Lauren Hill as a student, there was a fable that there was a pool. And I'm telling you, there were certain times where you could walk certain corridors and you could say, man, I'm getting a whiff of chlorine. Are you telling me my high school had a pool and we didn't get to use it?
No, not really. Because when you went there, across the street, the school was called Father McDonald High School.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
And Father McDonald High School became Lauren Hill Academy Junior Campus, which had a pool. So we've refurbished that pool this year. But all students have access to it because it's really just across the street.
Okay, so it was legend. It was legend.
Yes,
at my campus, it was a legend that we had a pool. There was no actual pool. Okay, because I was about to feel like my 5 years there could have been so much better, even though they were amazing. They were amazing 5 years. Like they could have been even better if we had access to a pool. Okay, so let me ask you this timeline here moving forward over the next few years. Are you confident that the EMSB can do the catch-up and then, flip those numbers so that many of the schools get out of the poor and the very poor category?
Yes, for sure. We've already been flipping those numbers. We have about 35 projects planned for next year that we're going to go out for tender for. And at our budget meeting last week, we just approved $50 million in funding for programs to deal with these things. So we're very happy, and there's no school that someone's going to walk into and say, oh my God, this is a terrible disrepair. Some need a new paint job. If it needs new windows, they're going to get new windows. If it needs a new roof, it's going to get a new roof. We're not going to spare any expense when it comes to doing things that are absolutely necessary.
Mike, this happens often when we discuss English schools and English school boards. I got a tongue-in-cheek message from a listener, saying, well, we don't have to worry about it. We're not going to have English schools for much longer, that kind of thing. Can we just end on enrollment? Do we still have robust enrollment in our English school system? Is the population growing? Because I see, in certain areas they're even building a new English school, right? So what's the situation in the EMSB with regards to those buildings? Do they have enough students in them?
Well, we've certainly had some peaks and valleys, but it's certain parts of our enrollment is steady, and we're expecting an increase next year. Obviously, we took a hit with COVID in our adult sector and our youth sector, but next year we're expecting certain things to grow. In the West End, there's some schools that are bursting at the seams. That we needed to put portables at Edinburgh. Roslyn is filled to the brim. Wellington, we always know about Royal Vale. Garden View. I can list a whole bunch of schools. Not all of them are full, of course, but we have some amazing success stories, and we'll be promoting things next year. We're hoping that people know that we're a good place to send your kids to school.
Mike Cohen, English Montreal School Board, thanks for filling in the details on this one. I do appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Take care.